Alright. Here's my amp that I bought for $5. My $5 tube amp, but I've got more invested in it. I bought $20 worth of tubes, and I bought a $15 wiring diagram. And I actually got the speaker in this little cabinet free, but I bought some other stuff from the game. It's just a used old speaker out of a little amp. But, you know, I put a fuse holder in it, put a new capacitors, you know, a couple of new resistors were puny in this amp. Input. Built a little cabinet out of some plywood I had laying around. Had a Fender logo and some Fender grill cloth on a piece of an old amp that has just been like standing, you know, taking up space in a corner of my shop for years because the amp didn't work. And it was a solid state amp. It wasn't a nice Fender. It was an old pile of shit from the 80s. But anyway, show you what it sounds like. Sounds pretty good, I think. Played through it with the Stratocaster here, which is not, you know, Stratocaster isn't real powerful. You're not going to get a lot of heavy shit out of it, you know. But you can get that bluesy. And it's not real loud. I mean, I can talk over. I can strum real hard here and I can talk. But if you wanted to sing, it would be alright to... Anyway, I'm messing up. I almost lost my pick. I don't know if you've seen that, but that happens to me a lot. Where I'm playing and I'm picking, next thing you know, the pick is like this. I'm like literally grabbing it by the edge because I had a stroke a few years ago and I can't feel these fingers worth of shit anymore. So anyway, I've tried everything in the world. I've got thumb picks like this, but I can't play worth the fuck with one of these things. Just can't. Just too used to using a regular good hard pick with no flex to it. Basically kind of a heavy jazz pick. But anyway, that's the way this thing sounds. It has no volume knob, so it's wide open all the time. But what you can do, and it's not real loud. You know, this, I mean, it's really loud enough. It's pouring down rain outside right now, so my shop is pretty loud in here right now. I don't know if you can hear it. I'll be quiet. Maybe you can hear it. That sound is rain. Hit the top of my shop. But here's one thing you can do here. This little thing here, this is what you do to tube amps to get good sounds out of them. Here's the amp. I'm plugged directly into it now. See, going straight to the guitar. What I'll do is I'll come out of the guitar and go into this thing. This is a preamp. So it's basically adding, and this has a little 12AX7 down in there. It's adding another 12AX7. One more preamp stage to the, one more gain stage, a gain stage to the preamp is what it's doing. And you can get more volume out of this little amp by doing this because you're just sending a hotter signal to it. You know, it's not even really an effect. It's just sending a hotter signal to this little amp. So it gets a little dirtier, see? Not really a lot louder, but I got the output way down on this. I could turn it up. I don't really... I mean, it'll get louder. I don't want to fuck it up by sending too much to it. I keep it on the bridge pickup here, and you know. It's a little, you know, blues jamming amp. I mean, it doesn't sound bad at all. I'm impressed with even that preamp kind of pushing that that first stage in this little amp. It's still fairly quiet. I don't hear a bunch of hiss or anything. I'm not, you know, the preamp's wide open on this. The gain is all boosted and everything, so I mean, it's kind of neat for $5 and a little bit of experimenting. It's not terribly hard. These tube amps, I'll tell you right now, I'll never buy another tube amp again. I'll just build one. Why buy one whenever you can just build one that you can literally take the time and do it right and build one better than you can buy? Unless you really spend a lot of fucking money on, you know, some shit handmade by some guy who was really, really good at it. But goddamn, who's got that kind of money? You know what I'm saying? That's for some dreamy motherfucker. You don't need that shit. Watch a few YouTube videos. Be careful. Don't fucking get electrocuted. Take your fucking time and just build a motherfucker. You know? You might not be able to build the most complicated son of a bitch in the world, but you don't need a complicated one. You really don't. I mean, the effects you put in front of it's what's going to make it sound the way it's going to sound. The tube just needs to be a platform for that type of shit. That's the way I look at it. The tube sound, if the little tube amp you built sounds good through the speaker you've got and the guitar you're playing through it, then that's all that matters. The thousands of dollars you would throw at some effects loop shit and this with this and this with that and electronic this and all this, I mean, all that shit could go out the window. About the only thing you could do that I would say would be good in what I'm planning on doing is build two of them just alike and then run them stereo, and then you have stereo guitar. That's about the best thing you can do to improve on a good tube amp, is make two of them and use them in stereo. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Think of it this way: you got a home stereo. Back in the day, they were just little tube amps. And the first ones weren't stereo. They were just little hi-fi doodads, you know. And then they started building stereo ones. What they did is they basically took a mirror image. They built an amp. They'd have a little amp over here. They'd take a mirror image of it and just flop it right here on this side and just put one volume knob in the middle that worked both of those amps. And one of them was left and one of them was right. And theirs was your stereo. And it took listening to recorded music from one level to a whole nother level having stereo. It does the same thing with guitar playing. Especially when you have chorus delays that can bounce stereo and all this kind of shit. It takes things to another level. So as far as improvements, that's all the improvement you need, really.